I had the opportunity to live and work in Japan, and I turned it down. For those of you who've been subscribed to the channel for the last year or so, you'll know that a lot of my content relates to Japan and my time spent in the country. I've been to Japan 3 times, totaling 5 months of work, study, and travel. And I speak the language pretty fluently. So you might be thinking, Andy, you have the opportunity to live and work in Japan. This is perfect for you, right? The answer is, it's complicated. In fall of 2019, I applied for the JET program, or Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. Since 1987, Japan and various other countries developed this program for mutual exchange of knowledge and cultural via language education. They would invite English speakers from abroad to teach as assistant language teachers, or ALTs, across the country. In return, the ALT is to immerse themselves in their local area, support their community, and be an advocate for Japan when they return home from the program. It's basically a give and take, and the primary requirements for being hired are English fluency and having any bachelor's degree. While there are many programs that provide opportunities for foreigners to teach English in Japan, JET is by far the most trusted and most well-established among them, as it is specifically supported by the Japanese government. There are some noteworthy JET alumni you might have heard of, like the band Monkey Magic, or Chris Broad from abroad in Japan. So why is JET the most well-established and most well-trusted of these English-speaking programs? It's because the JET program handles a lot of the nitty-gritty, more difficult details of moving and living in Japan, like setting up your visa, setting up your Japanese bank account, and things like that. ALTs are also often provided a place to stay either for free or at a very discounted rate, depending on your location. If you're somewhere in the middle of the country, you're probably getting a free place to stay, but if you're like in Tokyo, you're still gonna have to pay a decent amount of rent. On the flip side, while there are all these benefits, the ALT often has to trek between up to 10 different schools in their local area, and they have very little influence on where they're actually assigned. Most people want somewhere like Tokyo, Osaka, or Yokohama, but most people don't end up in the location that they ask for. However, most of those people end up loving the location where they're placed, no matter how rural or in the boonies it is. And for JET, the salary isn't amazing, but it's better than a typical starting salary in Japan for someone with a degree. In short, it's a job to teach English in Japan. So as a former English writing tutor who speaks Japanese pretty fluently and has loved all the time I've spent in the country, this sounds perfect for me, right? Again, it's complicated. I applied for JET in fall of 2019, and my interview for the program was in February of 2020, right as the virus was starting to become a major topic. Like many JET applicants, the main draw for doing the program in the first place was that you get to live in Japan. I became a writing tutor because I wanted to know whether or not I liked teaching English, and I found out that I really didn't mind it. So even though I probably wouldn't have minded the English teaching part of the job, it's not in line with my career, which is more on marketing and content creation. But anyways, in April, I got the job offer. And I actually accepted it. The plan was for me to fly out to Japan in early September. I figured the pandemic can't last that much longer, so it should be fine by then, right? In September? Right? While I have very strong feelings about how the Japanese government has responded to the virus crisis, Japan is a country that has normalized wearing masks for decades. All in all, it probably would have been a safer place for me to be than the United States, but despite that, I still had some reservations. Number 1, my main goal was to live in Japan. During a pandemic, even if you're in a safer country than America, you're not gonna get to live to the full extent. At least not without putting yourself and others at risk, which I was not about to do. 2, I have a degree in marketing, not teaching. Of course, I really wouldn't have minded teaching English for a couple years, and I probably would have enjoyed it. But coming out of college, I had really great momentum on my marketing career. I had just gotten out from doing 2 internships, and I graduated summa cum laude with department honors. Yeah, I was a bit of an underachiever in college. So given all that, the world was my oyster when it came to marketing. But then, number 3, one of my family members was having major health issues, and I didn't want to be an ocean away in case something important happened. So I did have my reservations, but the situation got even more complicated. As the global situation worsened, the departure date changed from September to be determined. As a result of that, I did voice my concerns to the local Jet representative. They told me that if I wanted to withdraw from the job because of the abnormal circumstances of the year that we were in, I could do so without any financial penalty. In a normal year, if you accept the job offer and then turn it down, there is a penalty because there is some cost in setting up all your stuff for moving to Japan on their end. I kept that in mind and I think, if the program's not sure when we're gonna be able to depart, I'm not sure about the program, so I'm gonna apply for jobs. After a couple months of applying for jobs, I eventually got an interview and then landed the job at AverMedia, where I'm currently working. And it's basically doing exactly what I wanted to do out of my first job out of university. And it's in an industry I'm interested in. When it came to the choice of entry-level job that I'm really interested in, that I can do now versus maybe I'll have a job in Japan at some point, but we don't know when that is, it was a pretty easy choice. So I submitted my final withdrawal to the JET program, and I accepted the job at AverMedia, where I started in September. And that would have been just 2 weeks before I would have flown out for JET had there been no pandemic. Given all the concerns that I had that were honestly unrelated to the pandemic, would I have taken the job at JET had the pandemic not happened? Probably. On top of that, if the world were normal the entire time, my current job might not have even existed because, among other things, AverMedia produces webcams. What it really came down to was that JET was an awesome opportunity happening to me at the wrong time. But you know what's an awesome opportunity that can happen anytime? Subscribing to this channel and liking this video. But really, if you enjoy my content, the support really goes a long way and it helps me a ton. I really appreciate it. Okay, now, after hearing my story, if you're someone considering the JET program, here are some things to keep in mind. These are all considerations that I made when I was applying. Of course, I'm absolutely not an expert on the job itself because I didn't take it. And I'm not saying these are absolute truths about how you should think about the JET program. I did get the job though. First, don't apply to JET if all you want to do is to live in Japan. It's a job. As fun as your time in Japan probably will be, it's a job, not a game. Next, you should know whether you like, tolerate, or actively dislike teaching before you go. If you dislike teaching, you'll probably be miserable on the JET program. If you tolerate it, you'll probably be fine, but if you had the choice between JET and a different opportunity, you might be better off with a different opportunity. And if you like teaching, go for it. Go for it. You'll have a great time. The last and most important thing is to consider your career after JET and how JET would impact your career. Unless you are going to be a teacher, there's not much that correlates between being an English teacher in Japan and most other jobs. Given that, your career might get a better start if you take a job in a more relevant field instead of JET, if teaching is not your field. However, you can be creative about it. You'd be surprised about the soft skills that carry over from the JET program. Things like creative problem solving, intercultural communications, language learning, presentation skills, and more. But again, if you have an opportunity that's far more in line with your career, like I did with AverMedia, JET probably isn't for you. So to wrap things up, if you're a JET hopeful, I hope that this long-winded vlog of saying why I didn't take the JET program helps give you some insight on whether or not JET is right for you. It's an amazing opportunity, but it's really not for everyone. For me, the pandemic was absolutely the primary influence in me turning down the job, but it really wasn't the only one. If I had the choice between my current job and JET, I would probably choose my current job. But consider your career goals, see how JET would fit into that, why you really want to do JET, and if you would enjoy teaching. And of course, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.